Hi friends, welcome back to our channel. We're in my favorite kitchen today, and you might recognize this kitchen from Chelsea's home tour. This is Chelsea.
Hi guys!
If you haven't seen Chelsea's home tour yet, you have to go check it out. It's up in the card above. You guys will just die over her home. But Chelsea has welcomed us into her home today. She's gonna take us through her hosting tips. She has an appetizer ready for us that she's gonna walk us through. Dinner, dessert.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a better guest to have on first for this series, The Art of Hosting. But why don't you just talk to us a little bit about what you have planned and prepped for today, what inspired you with this meal? It's summer, we're in June, so I know that this meal was kind of inspired by that, but just talk to us a little bit about what we're going through today.
Sure. So we're gonna highlight one of my favorite ingredients for summer, which is grilled peaches. We're gonna use that in both the appetizer and the main, which I think is really nice when you're formulating a menu for your guests to spotlight one particular ingredient and use it in a few different ways. Always makes for a really nice curated menu.
I love that.
It's summer, I like to cook light, so I like to grill fruits. It's like the best time of year to do that. So these are two of my favorite dishes. We're gonna be starting with stuffed grilled peaches stuffed with mascarpone and goat cheese over some basil, drizzled in hot honey, just nice and simple. And we're gonna have some focaccia because you need a carb with every course, obviously. And just some nice olive oils. Keep it really simple. And then we're going to do, for our main, we're gonna do grilled salmon with grilled peaches and onions. And then we have a pesto gremolata that goes on top. And our main, we're gonna end with a berry tart.
Yes!
So lots of fruit.
So excited.
Yes. I always like to take the time to prep as much as I can beforehand.
Yeah.
And then a beautiful table is always a must.
Yeah.
And each dish, kind of thinking about how I want to plate it. They always say you eat with your eyes first. And I also think in terms of when you have your guests over and you're sharing moments together, it feels like an experience. It's so nice. That the art of hosting to me is always the love that you put into it and the time that you take and those memories that you're bound to make over the table.
Yeah.
Over the table that you set, and when your guests come in and the table is beautiful and the food is out, it just says love to me.
I love that. So why don't we get started on the appetizers?
Yes, so I grilled the peaches already. This will be a lesson in what not to do because some of them were too ripe. So when you're picking a peach for grilling, I feel like it's a nice in-between. You don't want a super soft peach because once you put it on the grill, it kind of falls apart. But you don't want it to be super hard either because then it will take forever to grill and ripen as you're cooking it and it won't be as sweet. So these ones were clearly too soft. So we are not gonna use those ones. I just calved them. I melted down a little bit of butter and I just basted both sides with them and just threw them on the grill.
Delicious.
So really simple.
And I love that you lined the plate with basil.
Did a little bit of basil.
It's so simple, but it makes such a difference than just like slapping peaches on there. It's like they're in their little...
Like a little flower.
leaves. Yeah, like a little flower. I love that. Oh, this smells so good.
And then we'll be using basil as well in the next one.
Okay, so next is the filling. And this is just, did you just buy this like cheese mascarpone you said it was?
Yep, so I did a little mascarpone and goat cheese and I just mixed the two of them together.
Oh, I love that. I feel like cheese and fruit, just in the summer, I feel like
Just
that's my
best.
staple.
Just the best. It's so light and when it's hot outside, you don't want to be eating anything heavy.
Yes.
Cooking with the seasons is the best.
Yeah.
And then also too, the power of having a really beautiful olive oil and balsamic in the house when you're cooking with just a few ingredients is also really nice.
What are some do you have a certain olive oil you always use for certain dishes?
I like having a good nice cooking olive oil. Obviously when you're cooking with olive oil, you're using a lot more of it.
Yeah.
So you want to get something like that. I think these from Graza are amazing. The price point's really great and they have a drizzle of olive oil and a regular olive oil.
Okay. It already looks so good.
And Mike's hot honey. Not the most gourmet, but honestly you can't beat it in terms of hot honey.
Good, yeah.
We'll clean that
You
up.
are very brave cooking in white.
I know. I was gonna wear my apron because I'm also very clumsy.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're gonna roll with it. And if I'm gonna wear a few things, I'm sure.
With change of outfits between every course.
We may have to. We're just gonna keep our fingers crossed. And then I usually drizzle this with like a little Maldon salt, which is like a nice finishing salt, nice crunchy salt for the top.
I love that salt. I put it on everything now. I feel like I should do more sparingly, but I'm like, everything is better with flaky sea salt.
Everything is better.
Literally. Dessert, steak. I feel like it just, even the look, you can see the texture of it.
Anything salty sweet is just...
This looks so good.
You can't beat it. And then we'll make a nice little plate with some fresh focaccia, and that will be
the appetizer.
That will be our starter.
You know that, I feel like also the cheese is something that you could essentially prep like the day before.
Definitely.
You just have to throw the peaches on the grill, and then you're good to go. And this is like, it feels like very gourmet. And
so fresh, it looks beautiful. You're cooking with seasonal ingredients, which is so nice. And it took all of 5 minutes to put together. I'm stealing that one. Well, you have to try it first. Oh, yeah, you love it? I do. Hopefully you love it. All right. Oh, this focaccia looks so good. I'm literally salivating right now. I'm literally just getting lost in the breath. I keep going like further and further into it. You know what I loved too? I'm gonna just keep referencing this night because it's grilled in my memory. What is that? Burned in my memory? Burnt, ingrained. Ingrained. Yeah, you can say grilled. Grilled in my memory. We are grilling after all. But I loved how with you guys, you had some appetizers prepped when we came, but then you just continued to cook as we were here hanging out. I feel like I always get so stressed, like, I need to have the meal, everything ready for when people get there. But I was like, wait a second. And of course, you guys have a nice setup where your kitchen is very in the center and you can, like they can be a part of it. So it definitely depends on how your house is set up. But is that always how you do it? Or what's your like sequence of events? Typically, I think every event is different. I mean, if we're hosting more of like an intimate dinner party, like just you guys, I think it's nice to all hang out in the kitchen, spend that time together cooking. It's more experiential. But if we're having a large group, say we're doing something outside, then I try to have as much done beforehand as possible, or I'll try to pick dishes that I can make the day beforehand. Right. And that will keep well or even be better the next day. So I try to do as much beforehand as possible because when you have 20, 30 people over your house, you want to be able to spend time with them and not be in the kitchen the entire time. But for dinner parties, we do. Generally, I'll have the appetizers out and then it'll be kind of like we'll hang and we'll cook and it'll be much more casual and relaxed. And that will be, you know, it's your event of the night. That's what you're doing, spending time together and making a nice meal. It doesn't have to always be so formal too. I think when people think we're hosting a dinner party that, you know, needs to be so buttoned up and formal and coursed out and but it doesn't. I mean, it can be whatever you want it to be. The main premise of it is that you're spending time together, enjoying a meal. Yeah. And that is it. Yay! Voila! Ta-da! Ta-da, ta-da. Oh, it looks so good. All right, time for my favorite part, eating time. Wait, how do I do that in an awkward way? Eating time! Do you want me to clap with you? I'll make you feel better? So how do we do it? Guess first. All right. Pick your peach. I'm gonna go with this one. Oh, okay, should I get a little bit of basil on it too? Why not? Wow, I can't get this. Mine is huge. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten such a big bite. Oh yeah. This is too big. It looks like an amazing bite. You can go back now. Oh yeah. It's a winner. Oh, it's a winner. You like it? I love it. So simple. Oh my gosh. The cheese. The cheese and the peach is just so simple, but it's so good. So delicious. And so I've also like never grilled peaches, and just like how you just like chew it, it's just juicy. And it gets so sweet. Oh my gosh, it's so good. We were talking about this before, but I just love how this was like truly a simple meal with just good ingredients, and it's so impactful because it looks beautiful, it tastes amazing, but it feels like not just like feels like very, like I said before, gourmet. There's like 4 or 5 ingredients in here. It's so simple, and when you're repeating ingredients in your dish, the whole entire shopping list was like 12 ingredients to make multiple different courses for dinner, which is how I always prefer. I think simple with good ingredients is always best. You don't have to always do something, you know, that requires a million things and days to cook, although that's nice too.
Yeah.
But
oh, and you have the bread here too. I have to eat the bread.
anything better than bread and olive oil.
Mm-mm.
Definitely not. So we are gonna grill the salmon. So with grilled salmon, you always wanna make sure that there's skin on. We made a really nice rub that we're also gonna do a little bit of skirt steak with the same rub as well. I think sometimes you'll have guests that might not eat fish, or that might be vegetarian and you're cooking for different, you know, all different palates. So it's nice, like you don't always have to make an entirely separate meal. You can utilize the same ingredients in the same dish, as long as the flavor profiles go together and everybody's happy.
So Chelsea was very nice because I don't like fish and I said, please, I'll just eat the salmon tonight, but she still insisted on the steak. So I'm definitely gonna try the salmon though, and maybe I'll start to like salmon tonight.
Yeah,
this could be
I
nice.
hope so. I hope this is the dish
We'll have to see.
that makes you love salmon. But if not, we've got some skirt steak, which is my favorite cut of steak. I love skirt steak.
Oh, skirt steak.
Can never go wrong.
Okay, so tell us a bit, what's in the rub?
So in the rub we have brown sugar, chili powder, garlic powder, and cumin, and salt.
Okay. Yeah.
I have an equal amount of all. So 2 tablespoons of each one because we're making a larger portion, but everything is the same amount, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, that
and
is
then have
nice.
a million different ingredients. And the sugar on the salmon is so nice, makes it like nice and sweet.
So you were talking about different, you know, if you have people who are like me, who might not have a seafood, don't love seafood, or
don't even eat meat.
Yeah, what would you do in that case?
If I had a vegetarian, I would do like a nice cauliflower steak, or we could do a nice, you know, shiitake mushroom, something on the grill. That always works really nicely, and everything would be beautiful with the gremolata. All these flavors would work. So this steak, I'm gonna do both sides. Salmon, you're only gonna do one side.
Okay.
The salmon is not gonna be flipped on the grill. We're only gonna cook it skin side down, and we're gonna have it on the heat for half, and then we're gonna move it over. Okay. And then the steak, we're gonna do both sides because it'll be a much quicker cook, and we'll flip it. So I'm always gonna salt it first because you can never have too much salt on steak.
I agree.
And then I'll just be really generous with the rest of the rub.
So when you're thinking about an entree or like a meal, what are some things that are like your go-tos that you think these are necessary elements for a meal? Do you feel like there are necessary elements or things you try to highlight?
I think in terms of just balance. So if it's like salt, acid, fat. So making sure every single one of those things is kind of included in the dish makes a really well-balanced dish.
Okay.
So for this, the salmon is a really fatty fish, and we're gonna cut that, and we're gonna also add olive oil, and we're gonna cut some of that fat with the acidity from the lemon that goes into the gremolata. And then we're gonna make sure that everything's nice and salty as well.
That.
So when everything's really balanced like that, I think the flavor profiles are best.
Salt, acid, fat.
Yeah, salt, acid, fat. If you ate something super fatty and you didn't cut it with some acidity, it would just feel very, very rich.
Yeah.
This is why it's so fresh and so light, because it has the elements of all three. So next we're gonna make the gremolata, which is gonna go on top of the salmon.
Okay.
It sounds so fancy,
Gremolata.
but it's so simple. We have 2 cups of pistachios that were crushed, like roughly crushed. It's gonna add nice texture to the top. That goes in a bowl.
Cool.
Then we've got 2 cups of chopped basil,
Fun.
and that's gonna go in the bowl. And then we're just gonna zest some lemon on top.
Anytime I use zest in a recipe, I'm like, I am a chef.
Absolutely, it feels so chefy.
I'm like, even if it doesn't call for it, I'm like, maybe some lemon zest in it.
Some lemon zest would be nice. It always
also
just
looks
looks
really
so pretty. Yeah. And that's that, and we're just gonna mix it all together, and it's gonna go over the top of the salmon, which we're gonna serve over a bed of arugula that's dressed with some really nice balsamic. The aged balsamic's also gonna go over the top. The olive oil is gonna be drizzled on the fish with the balsamic and on the arugula. And then we just have our onions and our peaches that are prepped for grilling, which we tossed in olive oil and salted a little bit.
All right, okay, so we're gonna grill,
We're gonna get
so
grilling.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Well, this is just the most beautiful little setup you have here. I mean, even these chairs, I'm obsessed with these chairs.
They're my favorite find too.
We're linking all the things in the description down below. So like hosting essentials, the things that we've been talking about, olive oil. So anything that you want to reference, make sure to check out the link below. We'll have all those set for you. Even these gorgeous plates. Where did you get these from?
These plates are Etsy. They're handmade. My mother-in-law actually had gifted them to me for my birthday and for Christmas, little by little. Now I finally have a full set of 8.
Oh my
And I love them. I love the scallop detail. I love the texture on them. They feel handmade, and I think they just add something special to the setting. Yeah, I always like to mix and match, even with glassware, with plates. I never like when a table is too matchy-matchy. A lot of the cups are vintage. These, a good friend of mine has a shop called Pine Home that I got, which is so funny because I feel like the etching pattern is so similar to these glasses, which I found at Brimfield for $2.
Wow.
Which I always collect because when you're hosting, sometimes your glassware takes a beating.
Oh yeah.
For myself included. And then all of these are mix and match antique silver that need a polish a bit, but.
What is your mindset when thinking about setting a table?
If I'm hosting a bigger gathering, I need to be more strategic. I need to really think through how many things I have and how I can mix and match everything that I do own to make it so that it works. But if it's a smaller gathering with under 8, because I usually have a set of 8 of each thing, I just like to play. Until it feels finished. I definitely have a formula. You know, I even if we're not doing a first course, I always like to layer the plates. You have your linens, you have your tableware, you have a water glass, and then you have your wine glass, and the rest you can kind of just access. Always need candles, of course.
Always.
And then you can really kind of just play with. I was just for this table, I was inspired by the hydrangeas in the front of my house, which I cut a few stems off of.
I love it.
Just add some height, and then when it feels done, I always do my linens like this. I just think it's so much easier than folding them.
100%.
I get a pretty napkin ring, which I collect all different ones of too, and throw it on the table, and it's just easy and casual.
Well, this is beautiful. Now the next step, we're just gonna finish the
salmon.
The salmon.
We gotta just finish grilling dinner, and then we eat.
Yay! Okay, let's get to it then.
Okay.
The meat is cooked, and now we're going to plate.
So first, we're gonna just lay down our bed of arugula. I usually just dress right on top and then put the fish on top. Since it's warm, it kind of wilts it a little bit, which is nice. Instead of making a separate salad, you're just incorporating it into your dish.
I love that. Were there other things that you like to use as a bed, like greens, potatoes? Is there anything else?
Potatoes are great. Polenta is great. Zach makes this amazing. If you roast up a bunch of vegetables, make like a nice puree out of it. That way you can play with colors. You can do like a beet puree or like a carrot puree with cauliflower. It's delicious. If you have, I always like for there to be some sort of greenery or something fresh, especially on top of a dish. If you have like salmon, which is brown, kind of want to make sure you have a nice mix. I think when you add the toppings on top, that always, like a gremolata, or you have your, your cooked vegetables, all different colors. So then we're just gonna take our salmon. Maddie is underneath my feet. We're gonna plop it right on top. And I'm gonna try not to get my shirt in the food. And just plate that right in the middle.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
And then I just kind of, I just take and I just dress it on top with the vegetables. It's kind of rustic. No specific way of doing it. With the gremolata on top.
Wow.
Which will add some nice texture. Okay. I'm gonna do the same thing with the steak, and then I'm gonna do just the grilled onions for the steak. I feel like the onions and the gremolata are perfect for this dish.
It looks just so amazing.
Okay.
Wait, Zach needs to introduce himself. This is Zach. Zach is also an amazing cook.
Here, observe it.
My sous chef.
And I'm hungry, so I'm ready to go.
Oh my gosh.
And now we're just gonna drizzle a little bit on top. You don't have to do this, but
It adds.
can you really ever have enough olive oil?
Nope.
I don't know. I don't think you can. And a little bit more balsamic, which is, okay, we made it out.
Wow.
And we're done. And
Chef's
then,
kiss.
and then we're gonna serve that. We have a lot of the leftover bread. And we also made real quick, this is one of our favorite things to make, a garlic confit and a tomato confit, which is literally just peeled garlic and oil and little cherry tomatoes in oil. And we put that in the oven for about, it depends on what temperature you want to put it at. Usually what, like 350, 400 for like an hour.
Wow.
You just want to check it ever so frequently and make sure your garlic isn't burning. And then you have the roasted garlic for your bread. You can dip in the tomato oil. The tomatoes get so sweet. You can put them on top of your bread. And that's the meal.
It's truly perfection. I'm so excited to dig in.
You like it?
Well, that was
We're
just
fed.
lovely. Yeah, especially after like talking through everything, getting to sit and actually like just enjoy. And oh, it was so good. You guys,
I'm so
it
glad.
was so good. Well, thank you so much for having us.
Oh my God, thanks for coming.
This was so fun. I learned so much and it was so delicious. And if you guys want to follow Chelsea, her Instagram is by Chelsea Lynn. We'll put it over here for you guys to follow her on Instagram. Again, she's an amazing interior designer. You do online consultations too.
Yeah.
NJ based. So you can find all of her information down below. And if you guys want the links to recipes that we talked about today, what Chelsea cooked us today, and just different things we referenced, hosting essentials, we'll have all of that down below. So make sure to check it out. And if you want to see more like this, make sure to like and subscribe for more. Right, Chelsea, tell them
That's right, like and subscribe.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Yay.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having
so
us.
fun.
Yes. If you would like to hear our after dinner conversation where Chelsea gives us her best hosting tips, favorite dinner playlists, go-to recipes, and even get a chance to meet Chelsea's wonderful husband, Zach, who is an amazing cook himself, consider joining our membership where you can enjoy this conversation and so much more. More details in the description down below.
It's one of my favorite chefs. Pierre Cousteau says anyone can cook.
Anyone can cook.
Are you familiar?
Anyone, no, but I love that saying. And it's true, anyone can cook. Good or bad, it's, you know.
Do you know Remy?
No.
He's a French chef.
I don't know any of these
Have you
guys.
seen Ratatouille?
Oh my god, I haven't.
Really?
Chelsea probably has.
Oh.